Good morning, everyone. Such a great day. My name is Brooke Pardue, and I'm the president and CEO of the Parks Alliance of Louisville. And our mission is to drive equitable investment in our public parks to elevate the well being of the entire community. We support more than 100 of Louisville's parks and community centers, and most of those are located in underserved communities. We believe parks are powerful green infrastructure that strengthen communities, improve health in the environment, and spur economic revitalization. And today, we are so proud to host the inaugural Alberta Jones Park Day and to unveil a portrait of this pioneering attorney and civil rights champion, whom this community has permanently honored by giving her name to Louisville's newest park. I want to thank the residents of the amazing California neighborhood who so wisely chose to honor Alberta Jones and who have driven the design of this park project from the beginning. I also want to thank the incredible community partners who have invested more than $5 million to make this new 20-acre public park a reality. And we have a lovely sign over here to honor their contribution. And thank you to the more than 30 organizations who have joined with us here today to make this a joyous and fun family gathering. That's what parks are all about, right? Bringing people together in nature. We are standing right now on what will be the park lawn, an open green space for athletics and community events. And then just across the street, you can see the construction of what will be walking paths, outdoor fitness stations, a picnic shelter, performance pavilion, outdoor classroom, and an absolutely incredible music-themed playground. We plan a ribbon cutting for these first 5 acres this coming November. So everybody stay tuned for that date. Today, we're excited to unveil an original portrait of Alberta Jones and a mural project that will build on this beautiful artwork and allow all of us to literally become a part of this new park and to see ourselves in Alberta Jones. I'll give you more about that in a minute, though. First, it is my honor to introduce Mayor Craig Greenberg. He understands that healthy parks create healthy communities, and we could not ask for a better partner in this work.
Today is an absolute great day for parks. It's a great day for the California neighborhood. It's a great day for families. It's a great day for West Louisville. It is a great day for Louisville. Moving forward with the Alberta Jones Park is going to be one of the highlights of our entire administration. The plans are amazing. I'm so excited to be back here later this fall when Across the Street is nearing completion. And we owe a great debt of thanks to Brooke, to everyone with Park Alliance of Louisville, to Olmsted Parks Conservancy, to LVA, to Miss Jones' family, to everyone involved with making this portrait, this project, this park a reality. It is just so excited to see the amazing momentum that we have for this park and parks across the city. We agree that our city should be a city of parks, and it should be a city that acknowledges amazing individuals from our past, like Miss Alberta Jones. And this park being named after her is a great reflection of what she has done for our city, for our state, for our country, and how much she means to our city. Honoring our heroes and giving people a place to play and relax and to gather and to have great family fun and enjoy green space are essential to a thriving community. And all of those things come together right here at Alberta Jones Park. I also want to say a giant thanks to Councilman Ja'Cory Arthur it's great to be in your district today, Councilman, and it's great to have you as a partner on Metro Council as chair of the Parks Department, who's a fearless advocate for parks right here and in other important parks around our city. We just passed our next year's budget. Metro Council, Councilman Arthur and his colleagues passed a wonderful budget that has amazing investments in parks, not just for infrastructure right here at Alberta Jones Park, which it does, but also millions of dollars to make much needed repairs and improvements at Shawnee Park, at Chickasaw Park, at Central Park, at Elliott Park, and more than $3 million to repair and renovate and make amazing pools at Algonquin Park and Camp Taylor Park. These are just some of the investments that we are going to continue to make in parks because they are so important for neighborhoods like California and for our city here in Louisville. And we are just getting started. We are going to continue to partner with the Parks Alliance of Louisville, Brooke and her team, and everything that they have done to get us to this point, to ensure that as we make investments in park, that equity is a guide for making those investments. That's the right things to do, and it's in keeping with the legacy of Alberta Jones. And so I'm just so glad that she is getting her due with this park as being the pioneer and the leader and truly a hero for our city. Many of you probably know that Miss Jones was Kentucky's first female prosecutor. She was also a fierce advocate for change and for justice. She more or less single-handedly forced what was then Louisville city government to begin hiring black employees. She championed voter registration drives that registered thousands of black voters and so much more. She also served as legal counsel, advisor, and mentor to a young Cassius Clay and then Muhammad Ali. He was, of course, a trailblazer, and so was Alberta Jones, a trailblazer. She fought for injustice herself, and when she saw greatness in him, she encouraged him to give back, to lift up, and he certainly followed that great advice. Alberta Jones' life ended far too soon, but her name, her story, and her legacy will certainly live on forever with this park, with the portrait and the other art initiatives that we are talking about today. So in memory of Miss Jones, let's keep working for justice and equity for everyone in our city. Let's keep continuing to invest in great parks. And Ms. Flora, finally, I just want to close by thanking you and your family for joining us here today. It means so much to have you with us, and we are so proud to continue the progress of this park in your sister's legacy. Thank you all very much.
Next, I'm thrilled to welcome Councilman Ja'Cory Arthur. Not only is this park in his district, but as chair of the Parks and Sustainability Committee, Councilman Arthur is a staunch advocate of community-driven change and equitable access to quality public parks. In fact, he served on the local project team for our Parks for All initiative, and he sponsored the legislation to make the name of Alberta Jones Park official.
A few years ago, Metro Council paid for a study called Parks for All. And we don't really like studies because it's like they just reinforce what we already knew. And when you look at the community centers and the public parks from that study, it showed that the California neighborhood was a top priority. Because of that study and because of the fight that we have all been fighting, the city budget not only supported all of the parks and the pools that you just heard, we got like an extra $1 million for the California Community Center, for the California Park. The injustice that you just heard about is still happening today. And there are a lot of people continuing that fight. So when you step foot in this park and you read Alberta Jones's name, when you hear her name, say her name, and ask yourself, what are you doing to continue that fight, to continue that struggle? Joy McAtee is here from the Office of Equity, and we talk all the time. You just heard how Alberta Jones almost single-handedly worked with a movement to make sure that government employees look like us. We're still fighting that fight today. We talking 50, 60, 70 years ago. This is not just symbolic of a person who fought back then. This is a reminder that you have to continue that fight today. And if you don't know how to continue that fight, Joy, raise your hand for me, please. Joy need a lot of help. I need a lot of help. The mayor need a lot of help. None of this happens with elected officials and appointed officials. The power of the people is stronger than the people in power. So how are we working together to make Louisville better? Alberta Jones was the finest example of that. So every time you come to this park, hear about this park, see anything about this park, please do me a favor and ask yourself, question yourself, look in the mirror, and wonder how you are still continuing that work today. Because if Alberta Jones could do it, I promise you can do it too.
Thank you so much, Councilman Arthur. You have been such a tremendous advocate for equitable access to public parks and beyond, and we could not ask for a better partner. So in thinking about how best to showcase both Alberta Jones and the thriving community, which is the theme that the residents of the California neighborhood selected for the park, the Parks Alliance decided to commission an original portrait of Alberta that would serve as the base image for a giant, I'm talking 6 foot tall, 10 foot wide, photo mosaic mural that will be composed of thousands of pictures of people and places in the California neighborhood and beyond. Our goal with this base image of the portrait and the photo mosaic is to literally enable everyone to see themselves in Alberta's amazing life and quest for social justice. So much to follow on the heels of what Councilman Arthur said. We have to all continue this fight today. And so this idea of us seeing ourselves literally in Alberta Jones and then carrying on that fight, I think is going to be phenomenal to bring the whole community together in this way. Our partners at Louisville Visual Art, which works to engage and inspire and improve our region through art, facilitated a call for local artists to compete for this important project. And a panel of judges chose Josh Bleeker, a local artist whose talent set him apart. In an essay with his application, Josh beautifully articulated his goal to celebrate Alberta's fight to improve the lives of others, overcoming tremendous racial and gender barriers. When you see the portrait, I know you'll agree he achieved his aim.
I want to thank the Parks Alliance and the Louisville Visual Arts team and the family of Alberta Jones for granting me the honor of painting this portrait. If there's one thing that I'm thankful for in this project's undertaking, it is adding the name of this incredible person to my list of extraordinary historical figures. To me, Alberta Jones was more than just one of the first African-American women to pass the Kentucky bar. She was, and remains, an eternal example of the limitless possibilities of the human spirit. My greatest hope for this painting is that its viewers are forever reminded of Alberta's passionate, determination, and one-of-a-kind soul. I am beyond humbled to be a part of this wonderful project and will continue to offer my services in the name of social justice. Say her name.
And one of the greatest joys of this project has been getting to know the incredible Flora Shanklin, Alberta Jones's sister. She has welcomed us into her family, and we are humbled to have the opportunity to honor her sister in such a tangible and lasting way. This park will educate future generations on the incredible life of Alberta Jones and her important place in our history.
This is my son, this is my daughter, and they're standing here because this is a hard day for me. A great day. I just want to say, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And I'm so glad that so many of you are here, and I'm sure before the day's gone, more will come. I want to thank the Mayor, Greenberg, the Metro Council, Brooke, Purdue, Alice, Bridges, and especially the California neighborhood for getting this part in her name. I know some of you here don't know anything about Alberta. Some of you here have heard a few things about Alberta, and some of you have know that she was Kentucky's first female black attorney. They also know that she was Muhammad Ali's first attorney that wrote his contract. And then, and they also know she was the first black female prosecutor. But on that note, some people say that she was Kentucky's first lady prosecutor, black or white. And then some say that she was the first in the city of Louisville. But the only thing we do know, she was first, okay? Alberta was born, I'm going to give you a little history that y'all don't know. Alberta was born in 1930, November the 12th, to the late Odell Jones and Sarah, well, my dad called us Sadie Frances Crawford Jones. And she happened to be, Alberta was a kind and generous person, and she loved God, she loved her family, she loved children, she loved her friends, and she loved reading and drinking lemonade out of a mason jar. And iced tea. She did nothing for show. But because she believed it was the right thing to do, as a small child, she was doing things that other children her age were not doing. When she was in the second grade, Mrs. Marshall Wilson, her second grade teacher, had her grading the other children's papers. And that's because we lived on Hale. The school, Virginia Avenue, was on Virginia. And she could walk out the back door, and my mother would take her over. An hour later, she would be back in. So Mrs. Wilson discovered that she got bored. When she finished her work, she'd go home. So she had her grading papers to keep her busy. At 12, she taught herself how to ride a two-wheel bicycle. In 1944, at 14, she wrote her first song, Is It Is, or Is You Ain't My Baby. And she sent it off to a music company, and they sent back and said that they would take and make the record and have her as the writer of the lyrics for $200. At that time, in 1944, my mother did not and father did not have $200. So in 1945, the record came out with Diana Washington singing it. But at 15, she also taught herself how to drive. And that was kind of difficult at that time because it wasn't automatic. They were shift gears. But she watched my daddy shift the gears, and she learned how to do it also. And in the summertime, she would gather all the children in the neighborhood, and we'd play. She'd have a ball team going, the Yankees and the Dodgers. And then after we played ball, she would pile us in Daddy's car and take us to Chickasaw Park. And that was a wonderful, wonderful time. But my dad and mother found out she was still in the car. She kept taking keys, and Alberta kept getting keys. We don't know how. So finally, my daddy at 15 took her to Bowman Field and got her license because he didn't want her out driving without a car, with license. But we didn't have any idea, being children, that you had to have license to drive. We were just going to the park, it would make us no different. At 19, she became superintendent of our church Sunday school. And she did things with us, and the other children that belonged to other churches started coming to our Sunday school because we was having activities that they churches wasn't having. We was the first Sunday school class and the first black church to go to Santa Claus, Indiana in Spring Mill for a picnic. She had a hayride, and I'm not talking about in a car. We had the wagon, the hay, and the horses, okay? But she would put programs together. And on Friday nights at our church, she rented a projector, rented a film, and we would have movie nights. And she'd use one of my mother's white sheets for the screen. And then she would pop popcorn in a cast iron skillet and make Kool-Aid. And that was our refreshments. And those was good days. And we don't know as a family how many children Alberta fed. We don't know how many children that she made sure that Santa Claus came. We only know that she did quite a few. And her thing was that child does not know that mom and daddy don't have the money to pay Santa Claus. And she didn't want them to wake up on Christmas morning and nothing was under that tree. We do know that she took, at Christmas time, she would take 3 and 4 angel trees so that she could take and help some child. We also know that any family that the dad was out of work, she made sure that food was on their table for those children. And how we know some of that is that some of them was nice enough to come to my mother and tell my mother about her generosity. Some of them was nice enough to even offer money back to my mother for what she had spent on them. But some of them didn't show up, but I guess they felt like what we didn't know was better for them. Alberta did nothing that she did not believe in. And that it was the right thing to do. She did nothing that she took Bucky Welch, and when the little young man, that little boy, he was 8, he lost his both arms trying to save his puppy from under a railroad track and got ran over by the train. And she did not take his case looking for publicity. She did not take his case for money. She took this case because she felt like the railroad was halfway responsible for his loss. So what she did, she went and talked to his mother and she sued the railroad. But in the meantime, she did things out of her pocket. She paid a cab to take him back and forth to school and to take him to the doctor. She bought him clothes so that he would go to school looking nice. And then she talked Ford Motor Company, and how we did that, I don't know, to donate a brand new Mustang and raffled it off, and the money went to pay for his medical bills. And she didn't never know if she was going to get a dime from this, and she didn't, because she was killed before the lawsuit was settled. When she rented voting machines to teach blacks how to vote. And she did that because she wanted them to learn to vote for the person and not the party. So she rented the voting machines and held classes to show them how they could split their vote. And she did this because she wanted them to know that if you vote for the right person, you might get a fair shake. Anyway, and she registered. Some people said 3,000. Some said 6. We don't know how many she registered. But we do know that she took those that she registered and held it over City Hall to get it integrated. She walked in and she said, if I don't see some blacks behind the desk, and if I don't see some blacks other than operate elevators and being janitors and maids, we are going to vote you out. And they asked her, how many do you have? And she told them, it's for me to know and you to find out at election time. She also started a loan company called Greater Fidelity. And she did that because she said blacks were not able to go to the bank and get money to purchase homes or go into business. The only sad thing about that, she got killed before it got off the ground. And after her death, the board that she had appointed, it folded. Alberta was my big sister, my second mom, so she thought, my protector, my teacher, and my best friend. Don't get me wrong. As I got older, we had our disagreements, but never fights. Now, we went to bed and never went to bed angry. On July the 15th, 1936, 5 years and 8 months after Alberta was born, God gave my parents another girl, me. My siblings, I was told by my mother, especially my brothers, thought I hung out the sun and the moon. My sister, she was glad I was here because she got tired of being called in the baby. I loved all of them, but Alberta was the one that took me under her wings. God had given her a little sister, and as I got older, God did not give her a little sister. He gave me a wonderful and loving big sister.
Thank you so much, Miss Flora. Those were some stories I hadn't heard yet. They're amazing. Okay, we're ready for the big reveal. Is that just amazing? Our goal is to have more than 1,000 photos in this mural to really make it look like we want. And so please spread the word. We will be working on this really hard for the next 30 days. So we've got a timeline to get these uploaded, because then this will eventually turn into the 6 foot by 10 foot background in the performance pavilion. So all of the images, just so you understand, it's kind of a confusing concept, are going to be digitally embedded into this portrait. And when viewed from a distance, the individual photos will blend and you'll see the portrait of Alberta. But when you get up close, you will see that the portrait is made up of hundreds of images that everyone has submitted. So you will literally be able to see yourself in Alberta Jones. So the other thing that we really want to do today, besides have a whole lot of fun and visit all of our partners, is because we know that the folks in the neighborhood know best what they need in their park. We have a tent that's set up directly next to where we'll take your photos, where we have photos and an opportunity for feedback for phase 2. So for those of you that have been with us along the way, you know that phase 1 was completely designed by the neighborhood, and now we're looking for their feedback on phase 2. So we have food, we have activities, we have a DJ that's going to be set up here in a minute. It is not going to rain. I am willing that into being right now. But we hope everybody will stick around. We have roller skating set up over here, and they have roller skates for you. So I hope everybody goes and does that. We have the Tip It Forward bus here. We also, if you visit our tent and you live in the neighborhood, we have 200 tickets for a free lunch from Gore's Barbecue, if you guys want to go and get your tickets there. I know we've got some free coffee. A Miracle Aid is here. So I hope everybody has a wonderful time.